What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
A reboot or a direct continuation? The Silver Chair or The Magician's Nephew? What kind of order will Netflix follow this time? Has Netflix decided on a cast ensemble? Let's find out, shall we? One thing we know for sure is that Netflix will create the upcoming Narnia project similar to the most popular TV shows such as The Witches, and they even mentioned that Netflix Narnia is going to be something like Lord of the Rings. To be honest, fans of the novels and Disney screen adaptations didn't accept this as good news, and according to some of them, Netflix is bound to destroy Narnia for all of us. Is that true? Well, there is a possibility, but on the other side, it looks like Netflix will take its time to create a unique and worthy project, or projects, so that fans would be happy and satisfied. But what took the streaming giant so long? It's been more than 4 years since the company announced it had acquired the rights to adapt new Chronicles of Narnia movies and series. Ever since then, we've heard a couple of announcements and nothing else. No progress whatsoever. So is Netflix still in the game? Well, they have to be. I mean, acquiring all the Narnia rights sounds a bit expensive, and if they decide to throw that away and do nothing, they'll lose millions of bucks. Before we jump into some exciting plot details and potential cast members, we need to go through the basics. What are the Chronicles of Narnia? The Chronicles of Narnia is a book series by the renowned author C.S. Lewis. These successful novels were published in the 1950s. There is 7 books in total, and Netflix is the first company in history to acquire the rights to all 7 books, which is a pretty big deal and something you should keep in mind. But this is not the first time these novels will get an adaptation of some kind. The books were adapted into a BBC series, a radio series, and the most famous adaptation so far, the Disney movies. Disney and Walden Media released the first Narnia film in 2005. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe took the world by storm, and more fans tuned in to follow the adventures of the siblings who open a door to the closet that leads them to a whole different world. Thanks to the huge success of this film, Disney released another film, and then fans got another one. This time, the movie was distributed by 20th Century Fox. You'd be surprised that a 4th movie was intended to happen, but it never did. Why? Well, keep watching to find out. Now, let's get into some plot details. The creators of the franchise confirmed that you need to smash that like button if you haven't done it already. Now, seriously, Netflix announced the news of teaming up with the C.S. Lewis Company back in October 2018. They confirmed they now have a multi-year deal which allows them to create multiple film and series projects based on the source material. Alongside the original announcement, Ted, the co-CEO of Netflix, said, C.S. Lewis's beloved Chronicles of Narnia stories have resonated with generations of readers around the world, adding, families have fallen in love with characters like Aslan and the entire world of Narnia, and we're thrilled to be their home for years to come. After this announcement, more and more reports claim that the company will be adapting the franchise into a universe, something like the Game of Thrones, the previously mentioned Witcher, and Lord of the Rings. One official Narnia Facebook post says that the company will develop classic stories from across the Narnia universe into the series and films for its members worldwide. As for crew involved in the upcoming projects, we know of Mark Gordon of Entertainment One, and Douglas and Vincent will be serving as the executive producers for the series and producers for films. Obviously, this means that the Chronicles of Narnia 4, aka The Silver Chair, now won't be happening anytime soon, unless the company decides to continue right where Disney stopped. But really, the Narnia future looks quite uncertain in the hands of Netflix. We already mentioned that the streaming giant intends to do these projects within a fantasy universe, and yeah, this is really important when you consider the fact that the company now has all the rights to the books, meaning that it can do anything with them. Literally anything. They are allowed to make changes in the story. They are allowed to play with the characters, change the characters, and come up with different storylines that means they'll succeed. Now, let's get into more details regarding the Silver Chair. Even though it's been years since you did a Narnia marathon, you probably would remember the first film and not the 2 additional sequels. The reason why The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the best adaptation of the three Narnia films is that it focused on the source material. At least that's one of the reasons. But then Prince Caspian followed, and we're not saying that this was a bad film, not at all, but the film did some variations from the source material, and the success was nothing compared to the first film. That one did really badly at the box office as well. The film did so badly that Disney decided to give up the franchise, and this is when Fox comes in. They created the Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and even though they did their best, the film was a disaster, at least according to most fans. This meant that Disney, Walden Media, and Fox are all done with the franchise, and even though they tried to adapt the Silver Chair, their attempts were unsuccessful. The fact that people still watch the franchise proves that the Silver Chair deserves to be made. It deserves to be given a proper adaptation, with the creators trying to stay as loyal to the source material as possible. Is it too much to ask for? But as already mentioned, Netflix is not planning to continue right after Disney has stopped, meaning that the Silver Chair won't be next. The chronological order of Narnia goes like this: The Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, The Return to Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, The Silver Chair, and The Last Battle. The Magician's Nephew serves as a prequel to the story, and that's why most fans believe Netflix will start its reboot with it. The biggest problem with such a franchise is the doubt over the target group. Both Disney and Netflix tried to decide whether this is a story that needs to aim at children or towards an older audience. Based on what Netflix has confirmed so far, it looks like they have made up their mind, and we'll see a story that's for an older audience, unlike the one from Disney. We also know that the company has hired Matthew Aldridge, the co-writer of Disney Pixar's animated hit Coco, to simply create the adaptation of C.S. Lewis's books. Aldridge will work on the projects as the company says a creative architect on film and TV projects based on the tales. Besides Coco, Aldridge also wrote the thriller Spinning Man with Guy Pearce, Pierce Bronson, Minnie Driver, and Rennie Harlin's 2007 thriller Cleaner. Now I know what you're thinking. How can the company make no moves in 4 years? Are they still on board with these projects? Well, they would be crazy not to move forward, as they have paid around $250 million for the rights to all 7 books. There are also the fact that the second half of the Chronicles of Narnia has never been adapted for the screen, so this means that we have nothing to compare it with besides the source material. But the fact that this hasn't happened yet proves that this is a tricky half and fans have big expectations. Then again, there is the confirmation that the streaming giant plans to adapt the novels through both mediums, film and television, proving that most fans will get what they want. This is an optimistic conclusion, and we all know what time it is. It's time for you to smash that subscribe button and notification bell so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. But no, seriously, the most important thing you should keep in mind is that The Magician's Nephew, despite being the last novel in the series, is actually the first part of the story's narrative. We'll see you in the next video.